involved in it. Okay, why don't we get going here? Edison Modernization Improvement, Jacob Scott. And I think you should make sure screen share. You know, one participant can share at a time, so you should be, if you need to share something, you should be able to.
Hey, let me see. You'll have to, John, you have to disable. You have to, yeah, you have to disable on your end in order for me to share.
Okay. Try it now.
There it is.
There
we go.
All right, nice.
You guys see that?
Yeah, very nice.
Yep.
As many times as I'm on Zoom here, I always think I become the pro, and then after I get finished, I figure out that I'm still really just kind of learning. So
Very nice.
give me 1 second here. I just want to kind of recraft my screen here.
Yeah, this is real fancy, Jacob. I'm hoping that, you know, some of us elementary people can get your hand-me-downs with, you know, all these different poster makers and things like that. I'm putting you on recording.
Well, he's Edison Tech. That's what they're all about.
Okay. So here, I always just kind of like to say, I know, and actually, Mr. Baldino, I've worked under Mr. Baldino, awesome, great leader. He actually was, at one time, one of the principals here at the Edison Tech campus in our business and financial and entrepreneurial high school at a time when we were kind of broken up, I think at that time, into 4 different schools, right, Mr. Baldino?
Yes, applied tech, engineering and manufacturing, business science, and imaging information technology, yes.
Wonderful.
So, I mean, so there's been different transitions that our building has been in, which, you know, with time that does end up happening. The one thing I do like to say is the fact that I'm a proud just Edison alum. I mean, I'm from Rochester. My mom still lives on Genesee Park Boulevard, which is 19th Ward. I'm a 19th Ward guy all day, every day. Grew up at the Boys and Girls Club. Pretty much say that probably was my second home growing up. And I'm very, very proud of that. Like I said, my mom, she still lives right on Genesee Park Boulevard. In the 19th Ward. I probably would have ended up going to Wilson if I had, but I didn't go there. One, because my entire family went to Edison Tech High School, and I probably would have had to walk to school. My mom was not gonna allow me to walk to school, especially during those times when they did not really plow the sidewalks and things of that nature early in the morning. So it kind of was a blessing that I did have the opportunity of attending Edison Tech High School. I know Miss Clyburn is a Wilsonite Wildcat all day. I do appreciate that because my lovely wife of 10 years, she's been dealing with me, is also a Wilson. Ooh, she would get me on that one. She's a Wilson Wildcat as well. One of the things that I do like saying, with all the transition that we have gone through, we are technically the only CTE school, really comprehensive school here in Monroe County. And I know with, you know, going through the various stages of kind of what's been taking place here in our building, really CTE has never gone away from Edison Tech. It really hasn't. It has looked different, but it really has not gone away from Edison Tech. one of the things with our rich history as being a CTE school, CTE stands for Career and Technical Education. Honestly, one of the things that I've learned, me working first as a school counselor here in the building after graduating from Edison Tech, I actually was in the drafting design career pathway. That's obviously something that I did not, when I left Edison, I went to the University of Rochester, and initially I had planned on taking up engineering. And for maybe the first 2.5 years after graduating from Edison, I took up electrical engineering at the University of Rochester. And I just kind of decided that was something that I didn't want to do. You guys talked about Bill Johnson. I had the opportunity of shadowing him and working during his tenure as mayor, working in the mayor's office. And I kind of found a love for politics during that time. And it was a grave decision, but I ended up changing my major going into my junior year to political science and history, which was a big feat. But my mom, who's always been my biggest supporter, she told me to follow my true dream. And so that's what I did. But my foundation was drafting design, engineering, the things that I actually learned while a student at Edison. And so one of the things that I always just like putting out there for people to understand, for of course students, parents, but also just community members, Edison is a place where you gain options. You have options. And I think as a parent, I'm a parent now of a 6 3/4-year-old daughter, because that's exactly how she would put it. But I think as a parent, you want options for your kids when it's all said and done. And I think at the Edison campus, that's exactly what we provide. We provide options. We're a full comprehensive school. So yes, I'm going to talk about our CTE pathways that we offer, but at the same time too, we offer AP Bio. We're English, science, math. We have a full-blown music and band. We have all of the sports programs here at the school, both girls and boys. So we're not a BOCES by no means. We are a full comprehensive school. We're a 9 through 12 school. And, this past year, we kind of was, as far as our population was concerned, we were a little over 1,800 students in total, which is also the most students in the district. You'll see here from my slide, I'm just trying to make sure, is the slide still showing?
Yep.
Yep.
It kind of gives you a breakdown of what those career and tech pathways are. We have our construction, architectural, and design pathway. We have our automotive manufacturing and engineering pathway. We have our digital media, arts, and communication pathway. And we have a program called our PreTech Rochester program. And then we also have our NYSA, which is our New York State Alternative Assessment Pathway program. I'm going to go through each one of these somewhat briefly, just so you can get an understanding of what those are and what they entail. And then any questions that you guys may have, I'll try to answer those as best as I can. I am into kind of my first official year as the principal of Edison. I came on last year, kind of near the tail end, when a good friend of mine, Walter Larkin Jr., who is now the CEO of UPrep, which is our boys charter school here in Rochester. Very good friend of mine. Appreciate him very much. We probably talk every other day, if not every day. But he was a good friend of mine. We actually went to Edison together as well. So I always kind of like to give kudos with that as well. Our PreTech Rochester program, which I just spoke about as being one of our pathways, very unique program. It's the only one here in Rochester, of course, but I like to consider this as our 9th through 14th grade. Whereas it's a program where students come in 9th grade and they stay 4 years, 9 through 12, but they continue on to MCC free of charge. Students, once they finish the program, free of charge, then gain their associates. So not only do they gain their diploma after 4 years, but they also gain a 2-year associate's degree from Monroe Community College, no charge. In the PreTech program, students are taking up computer science, cybersecurity, programming, and information technology. It's a very unique program because students have to come in as 9th graders. They can't, students just can't come in as like a 10th or 11th grader. They have to come in as 9th graders into this program. And it's very, very, very intense. Students are attending MCC their junior year. We do have an academy director. Her name is Alicia Fuller. She's she's outstanding as it comes to PreTech and knowing about the district. She's been in the district for quite some time. She's an awesome colleague as well. But this is one of our pathways here at Edison, PreTech Rochester program. One of our other pathways is our construction, architecture, and design program, which pretty much encompasses our carpentry, our masonry, our electrical, our CAD, and our welding. Me talking about this really doesn't give it the credit that it should get. And of course, I kind of feel like a salesman at times when I'm kind of talking about these things. But at the same time, any of you guys are you know, if you're able to come over to Edison once things kind of open up, I would love to give you a tour. I do know Miss Clyburn has been over to feel, touch, smell, kind of what some of the things that I'm talking about, because it's real. And these are real things. This is just not a photo. Actually, in the photo is one of our students who graduated 3 years ago, who was one of the top Skills USA students in Monroe County when he graduated. He actually currently right now is in the Marines. And one of the pieces that I like to say is many of these skills that many of our students learn, some of them may not go to college per se for these things, but it's one of those things where they have skills for life. You know, for me, and I'll say this often, CTE is more than just career technical education. It's critical and timely education. These are things that students will have for the rest of their lives, hands-on experiences that, one, they can own their own businesses. I know for myself, there's plenty of times where I need certain things done that Jacob Scott, the person you see in front of you, cannot do. And I'll own that. But I do know that there's individuals who are graduating from the Edison Tech campus who are capable of taking care of these items and who are making great livings doing it. One of our other pathways is our digital media, arts and communications, which encompasses our digital video, our advertising design, our interactive media, and our digital music and audio production. A lot of our students really like this. This is kind of one of those things that is in your face right now, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. There's so many things that you learn from digital media, arts, and communication. This is actually one of the areas that we had under construction this past, last summer. I'll have pictures to show you. But this is a very attractive pathway for many of our students. We, are tied in with all of our pathways, but, Spectrum News, we have business partners, of course, that come in and kind of assist and help out our students. We have journalists and individuals who come back and talk with our students just to kind of keep them enticed and kind of help keep them on the right path as far as moving forward. Many of our students in this particular pathway go on to RIT and do extremely well, and honestly are much more advanced than many of first-year students that are coming in. But our digital media and arts communications is a very attractive pathway here at Edison. One of our other pathways is our automotive manufacturing and engineering, which consists of metalworking, advanced manufacturing, automotive tech, and engineering tech. This one right here is our money getter. I mean, we have business partners, and if you know any bit of history about Edison, where Edison was actually built, you know, we're built around businesses. And when it was built here, and still to this day, our community is business partners. We have very little, probably honestly about 8 students who walk to school. Most of our community is made up of businesses, which is great, because what it allows us to do is it allows us to place students into internships, shadowing opportunities, where they can actually walk to the businesses around in our area instead of worrying about transportation so much. But in this particular pathway, we have a lot of great stuff just kind of going on. Every time I give a tour and we have business partners that come in, one of the first and last questions they always ask is, how many students can we sign up now? We need students right now who are able to come in and provide some skilled work in these areas. So we try to make sure that we are making sure to give our staff in tune. One of our staff members who's working in this particular pathway, he's an Edison graduate. Worked for, I want to say, GM for probably over 30 years, made a great living, and now is back here at Edison, giving back and working. We also have another teacher, his name is Dan Collins, who's working in this particular pathway. I mean, he's a 3rd generation manufacturing teacher. His grandfather worked here, his dad worked here, and now he's working in the same pathway that his family did. And he provides just so much to this particular curriculum and pathway that we offer here at Edison. I like to show this because a lot of times many people or organizations that kind of compare us to BOCES, which is great. But we are like I said, we are a full comprehensive school. These are just some of the clubs that we offer here, along with our sports programs that we offer here at the Edison Tech campus. Can give you a visual. This is kind of, it's in our view book, but it kind of gives you a piece. We always are looking for students who really want to be a part of what we offer. 9th graders kind of coming in, rising 8th graders. Sometimes they just don't know exactly what they want to do. Of course, in high school, I mean, I spoke about earlier just me in college and me changing my major, right? We're asking 9th graders to make almost like a life decision almost on what they want to do. The piece that I really like is the fact that there's just so much to offer here at Edison. These programs are not just programs that I'm talking about. These are programs that are going on right now. It's not anything that we need to put in place. These are things that are actually going on right now here in our building, offered to any student 9 through 12 here in our district. This is a visual of some of the new space that Travis Miller and his organization kind of put in place for us. This is actually like on our first level. It kind of gives you an indication. It kind of brings you into our new digital media and art section on the first floor. Nice. This is a visual of our digital media and arts area. Digital media and arts communication. We try to make sure that we have state-of-the-art equipment. Our business partners, basically, they're hand in hand with us. They tell us what type of things, that they're using, and we try to make sure that we replicate exactly what they're doing, so we can make sure that we have students who are ready once they leave Edison to go right into the workforce and have hands-on knowledge on what's going on. This is just another picture of the digital media and arts communications area, one of our new spaces down on the first floor. This right here is a visual of our digital and audio production area and room. This picture really doesn't give it justice, but it is one It was actually replicated from ESPN. And our students are doing live feeds. Our announcements are done right here, and they're fed through all of our classrooms on TVs. So students are, learning journalism skills. They're learning production skills. We have a student right now who's working at Channel 13 News. And honestly, when we have students that leave here, they're ready. And they're ready to go. And we want to make sure, our business partners understand, and we know that. We've built great relationships with them. And we also have those business partners at the table talking to us, letting us know what exactly is needed out in the industry. This is just another photo of that our production room, our digital video production room. This is just another picture of our audio room as well. This is a picture of one of our art classrooms. It was a new space that was put together. We actually had 4 of our rooms that were configured into brand new art spaces with a lot of space. We have kilns that are in our art spaces. We truly believe in extracurricular, not just sports, but also art, music, robotics as well. We actually do house here at the campus, the district, and also the Wilson XCATs here in our building with robotics. This is a picture of our automotive and manufacturing area. It's particularly our automotive technology area, where we actually have, I think, a total of 8 bays, but this is one of those areas here in our building. And like I said, the pictures are great, but it really doesn't give it justice. If you just drive by 655 Colfax Street, you couldn't imagine the massiveness, if that is a word, of what we have here in our building. And you can see here, we have it where students, families, community, you could bring your car, get them fixed, free of charge. The only thing that we charge for, honestly, are parts. The labor is free. And if you know just as well as I do, many times the labor costs more than the parts. Yep. This is just another picture of a different area. It's not the same area. This is a different area of our automotive and manufacturing area with some additional bays that we have here at the Edison Tech campus. And this is another photo as well. One of the things I do like to give kudos is that we were able to get a car donated to us through the Ford program. Actually, the picture is on the far right there of that Ford Escape. We were able to get a vehicle donated, an up-to-date vehicle where our students are learning the mechanical, but also the computer pathway of fixing cars, because that's actually the way, the state-of-the-art way of fixing cars now. But that particular car came with a computer diagnostic that plugs right into vehicles, and it gives you a breakdown of kind of what's going right or wrong with the vehicle. We do have a person from Ford that comes in every other month to provide some tutorial on just how to use that for our students. So when our students, like I said, when our students leave, they are ready to hit the ground running. This is a space, a new space here at our campus. It's called the makerspace, and basically it's a space that can be configured for anything that we kind of need it to be. If you go on any college campus right now, you'll notice that, like in the library or just in common spaces where students are studying and gathering, they have spaces similar to this right here where they can configure the tables, the chairs. And for us, we're using this space as a collaborative piece where we may have construction, manufacturing, and electrical come together and talk about building a particular project, a shed, or even a house. And this nice, spacious area allows those conversations to take place and happen. This is just another picture of our makerspace. As you can see, those tables are on wheels. We're able to kind of maneuver them any way we need. And this right here was just kind of up and running last year after construction, and we really look forward to utilizing that for the 2020-21 school year. This area right here is a part of our digital media and arts area. You know, students are into photos and kind of capturing that moment. So, you know, we have it where students are learning lighting and Photoshop, and we have a sound booth. Also, you'll notice back there where students are working on music production and digital music, you know, throughout the day. This is just another picture in that same room where we have Mac computers, which is actually the standard computer in digital media these days. This is actually another room, which is our music, another one of our music production rooms, which is a new area in our building as well, where students are learning music production, learning how to create various sounds and things of that nature for them to kind of carry on. And many of our students, of course, if you have a young one, if you know, they're really into that music. I'm showing here kind of like a plan. It's a 2022-2023 plan. Kind of just as we're kind of thinking, growing Edison, and kind of bringing back a few items that as a student I know I had here in the building. But like I said, right now we have our automotive manufacturing and engineering, which consists of those particular pieces that you see on the screen. We have our construction, architecture, and design, which consists of the carpentry, architecture, masonry, and electrical. Then we also have our digital media, which is our digital video, our digital music, advertising and design, and interactive media. We have our PreTech program, and then we also have our NISA program, which is our special ed program here, which I want to say provides access to all of our CTE that we offer here in the building. But we also are looking at possibly, this is definitely not in stone, but we're also looking at possibly growing into a human services and healthcare pathway, which culminates culinary arts, which we do have culinary here in our building, but we want to grow that. We want to bring back our cosmetology, which at one time we had. I know as a student I had cosmetology, but we no longer have that. And then our horticultural, and that's a piece that we actually do have here now, here in the building, and we want to, you know, we want to see and look at possibly growing that piece out. And so that particular pathway we're looking at as being like our human services or our healthcare possibly pathway. Kind of just, not that I guess kind of ending here. One of the things, you know, you see kind of advertisements, or you may have seen them, all roads lead to such and such, right? I really truly feel as a principal of Edison, as someone who's graduated from here at Edison and who's been a part of the community here for quite some time, many roads come from a CT education. You can look at many of the things that we just do globally, right here in Rochester, nationally. There is a CTE foundation in many of those items. And one of the things that I want to continue doing and making sure that we promote here at the Edison Tech campus is the fact that we provide options both for college and career, of course, and of course, if students want to go right into the workforce, we have those options available for students to make great livings for themselves and for their families. So I do appreciate you guys giving me the time and just kind of giving those, giving you guys kind of a snapshot almost to kind of what is going on here at Edison. And like I said, we have our community engagement team at Edison that we're growing. We have open doors to individuals coming in and kind of seeing what we're all about. I'm all about trying to get better. And, you know, if there's any ideas that you may have, by all means, please email me if you want to take a tour. I would love for this group to really get a hands-on. You know, it's one thing about showing pictures. I don't know too many people that are going to show quote unquote bad pictures. But the one thing I can guarantee you is that when you come here to Edison, I'm hoping, my goal is to raise your eyebrow a little bit and have you leaving saying, you know what? There's some options out there in Rochester that our kids need to take advantage of. We just got to make sure that we get the right student.
Right.
We need parents to back us and be behind us. And like I said, many students just don't understand and know what they actually want to do coming in as ninth graders. We're trying to get students very engaged in, you know, being interested in what we have to offer. Even if they want to go straight into college, that's great. At least they now have other things that they can also fall onto, or fall into rather, that can provide a viable living. As ninth graders, when students come in, they're on a track where they go through all of our CTE classes, so they kind of get a gist as far as kind of what they, you know, what we have to offer. And at the end of ninth grade, they pick one of those pathways that I showed. And for 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, they kind of go through that pathway. Our goal during 11th grade year is for students, honestly, to be out working in that pathway, either in a job shadowing, internships, and just, you know, just as well as I do, we need skilled workers. And right now is a great time. We always love it when our students can go right into work and get paid for doing that. One of the kudos that I always like giving out, because I always kind of tap on him to kind of speak with our parents and students, is Tony Jackson, who is the president of Panther Graphics. Just by a show of hands, is anyone familiar with Panther Graphics? It's one of our Black-owned graphic design businesses. I want to say it's even more than just a business, because they're global. I mean, they're doing work for Disney, Nabisco, but Tony Jackson is an individual who graduated from Edison Tech High School. This particular school, who has taken what he learned in his manufacturing class and his digital media class, and he has made a lot of money in doing that. He provides internships for our students every year. He does, you know, he's done our booklets. He's done our lawn signs. He gives us of himself, and he also gives of not just his, you know, his time, but also his money here at the campus, at the Edison Tech campus, which is awesome. But I mean, he has a great story to tell. Kind of like what his venture has been here at Edison, and kind of how he took what he learned here at Edison and now is making a great living doing that now, and actually probably looking to retire pretty soon. But he took those skills, and we have so many stories like that. We have so many individuals who have graduated from the Edison Tech campus who live across the country, who are doing exactly what they learned here while being students, and are just doing a great job and are giving back. So,
what is the graduation rate at Edison right now?
Well, right now we're hoping for it to be 100%, but that's to be seen, because we're still kind of, you know, we're waiting on, you know, got a couple more months left, a couple more weeks left for the semester. But I know our graduation rate, our graduation rate in August was around 57%.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, you know, I've got a friend who graduated from Edison probably 30, 40 years ago. And he's been waiting to give me an opportunity to ask somebody from Edison a question. He's a plumber, and he's got a lot of friends who are plumbers who are old and about to retire. And I'm just wondering why that didn't make the cut, along with carpentry and construction.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that we got to keep in mind is the fact that we need individuals who can teach those classes. So one of the pieces that you'll see with CTE, you know, many of the plumbers and individuals such as that, they actually have their own businesses. And so that's the piece that has been extremely tough, is trying to see if we can get individuals who will come back and teach those courses to our students. I mean, it is definitely something, you know, cosmetology was a huge one. Plumbing, of course, is also one that we would love to bring back. But it's also one of those things we need to make sure that we have individuals who can come and teach those classes, because they still actually have to, you know, they have to get certification. There's things that through New York State that they also still have to do. And a lot of times, especially with our beauticians, a lot of times, say for instance, they can just have their own business and they're settled with that, instead of maybe coming back. So it's a blessing when we can have individuals come back and teach some of those courses for us.
Okay.
Oh, yes, Mary.
Well, now, say you have a child, do the primary grades look at children and kind of think maybe this child would be a gifted student for Edison Tech? Not every child has technical skills and the skills that you need to actually be in Edison Tech. Are they keeping their eyes open for these children? And what about children who have these wonderful skills, but may have reading disabilities or something? Can they get as far as to get into Tech or Edison so their gifts can be grow?
Well, yes, I want to say yes. I mean, we're open to all students. I mean, we have, you know, one of the things, we want students to come and then grow. So we don't necessarily figure that students should come in already kind of having some of these skills. We kind of want to grow the skills once they get here. But there has to be some type of an interest,
Right.
in
Or an
wanting to kind of come in. So during that ninth grade year,
yeah.
so during
Like-
that ninth grade year is when they get the gamut of all of our CTE, and they can kind of make choices within that.
But you
As far
have
as reading and things of that nature, I mean, we have teachers here that are always after school programs, tutoring, because, you know, students come in at different levels. So, I mean,
Right.
being a
Right.
full comprehensive school, we're still a school that students still need 22 credits to graduate. You know, there's nothing besides that. We have we need 22 credits to graduate from our building. Whereas, you know, back in the day, in order to get an Edison diploma, you had to have actually more credits in order to graduate from our school.
It's just that, I mean, I've got a BA, I've got part of a master's, and I can read Shakespeare, but I couldn't fix a car. And anyone that can do that, as far as I'm concerned, or fix a furnace, just to be adapted to do that stuff, you know, that's their gift in life. And
well, you know, one of the things too, it's funny that you even just mentioned like changing a tire or oil change. So one of the things that you'll know, you know, our students in ninth grade during their exploratory, because that's what it's called, they're going through that, how to change a tire, what do spark plugs look like. And one of the things that one of our students during one of her senior exit interviews told us one time was, you know, I'm probably never going to end up, you know, changing the tire, but I'll tell you what, I'm comfortable in doing it if I needed to. I know at least where, you know, where the tools are in a car in order for that to take place. I know where my oil is. If I needed to put oil in there, I know where my spare tires should be in my car. And that alone told me that's great, because we want our students and just anyone just to be comfortable in the things that either they're purchasing or that they own, at least they can speak and talk about it.
Right.
So
What-
depending on kind of what your area is, I mean, we try, we try to make sure, especially with our school counselors, that we're kind of matching you up with your interests.
What courses that used to be at Edison Tech are now at MCC?
Honestly, I'm not sure if I can give you a thorough answer on that. As far as classes that
Technical courses like heating and ventilation, and there's a lot of courses that are tech courses now at MCC that used to be in tech. I'm originally from Buffalo, where Bert Gardner and all these tech schools started years and years ago, and that's where it was at.
Hutch Tech is somewhat similar to Edison Tech.
Today.
Buffalo.
Today.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to have to move on with our agenda. And hopefully you can stay with us, Jacob. A little bit later on, we're going to be talking about a greenhouse that we may be moving from one area to another, and that may lead to some other things that you'd like to get kids involved with.
We actually do have a greenhouse here at Edison as well.
Ah, okay. Well, when we get to that, you can maybe tell us some things that you might, that we might interact with you on. We've got 2 arrivals that have come since we started. We've got Alicia Ward. Wave hello, Alicia. Who, why don't you introduce yourself, Alicia, so that people know what you're involved with?
Oh, yes, my name is Alicia Ward, and it's with great pleasure that I greet you this evening. And in particular, I'm pleased to greet Mr. Jacob Scott, as well as Mr. Dan Drmacich. Jacob, having been at Interim Junior High School, and
I recognize that name.
That's right. So I'm just elated that interim students are still producing students other places in the community and raising up the next generation of thinkers. So I'm at the SUNY Attain Lab, which is now under the auspices of the city of Rochester, but is through State University of New York, where we provide computer-based job skills training and academic enrichment. That's what I do.
Great, thank you.
Can I just say, Ms. Ward was my at Nathaniel Rochester when I was an 8th grader. Probably knowing that I was going to Edison. She was our commencement speaker in 8th grade.
And you're still reaching for the stars, right?
Yeah. Thank you. Wow.
Great.
Wow.
Small world.
Very small world.
Dan, why don't you introduce yourself, and you can talk to us about the Rochester Coalition for Public Education.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. I'm also a product of the Rochester City Schools, having taught and been an administrator for a total, I think, of 43 years before I retired about 10 years ago. So, in fact, I remember Alicia. My God, I mean, thanks for bringing that up. I said, I know this person, so thank you. So about, I don't know, 2000, I started a cooperatively a advocacy group for more progressive research-based educational reform in Rochester for the benefit of Rochester students. Most recently, about 4 years ago, we became the Rochester Coalition for Public Education, and our primary purpose is to lobby legislators, school board members, the superintendent, whoever it might be, in terms of creating more research-based, learner-centered, constructivist-based opportunities for kids in the city. Most recently, just giving you a quick rundown in terms of some of the things that we were advocating for, one of them was the appointment of a monitor for the city school district, given some of the issues that are taking place on the board and the need for some more financial stability, as well as integration of more learner-centered academic initiatives. We lobbied with state legislators and the Board of Regents, and we do have a monitor now. I haven't met her yet, and we hope that that's going to hopefully make a change within Rochester. One of the other things we do is we lobby for political candidates and school board members that support our agenda at the coalition. And if people are interested, well, John has a copy, so he could send it out to everybody who doesn't have a copy of it. But right now we're looking at feedback from Mr. Bronson and Mr. Udelson, as well as candidates for other positions in the New York State Legislature. And we'll be endorsing the candidates that we feel are best supportive, are most supportive of our agenda. In addition to that, let's see, one of the things that we do is that we do make presentations to the community. And we have a member of our coalition, his name is John Strazabasco, who wrote this book. I don't know if I can get it up here. It's called 90 Feet Under. And it's probably the most provocative book I've read on the impact of poverty and trauma on growth. So John is going to be making a presentation to the coalition within the next couple of weeks, and hopefully, if we decide to, we'll be trying to organize probably a Zoom conference again for the community. But I strongly recommend this book, 90 Feet Under, for people. I mean, I thought after 43 years that I understood poverty in the city. And after reading this book, I understand how little I knew. And if you're wondering why kids in the city who grow up in generational poverty have such a tough time making it, I strongly recommend that you read this book, because it completely has changed my perspective in terms of kids and what I could have done differently as a teacher and a principal when I was in the district. And it's a sad statement, I guess, to make, that I could have been a more effective principal, more effective teacher if I would have read this book. So hopefully that's something that's going to take place in the near future. We're also discussing the children's agenda recommendations to the city school district on the budget, and we'll be most likely endorsing their additions and their recommendations. The only problem is that the budget's been approved, but there is the possibility that more money could be coming from the feds, and as to how that money is used is another question. In terms of, let's see, what else? Well, we do have a meeting set up with the new superintendent as well, and she'll be meeting by Zoom with our coalition, and we've sent her a copy of our agenda and our values for the coalition, and we'll have, I think, a very productive discussion with her in terms of where she plans on taking the district, hopefully with the support of the board as well and the monitor. One thing I did want to say to Jacob, I see Jacob's moving there. Are you leaving us, Jacob, or?
Oh, I'm still here with you.
Okay, because one of our coalition values and agenda items is the support for alternative diplomas, such as not only a Regents diploma and you know, some people are into IB diplomas or whatever, but one of the things that we're very interested in is working with administrators, board members, legislators who want to implement within the city school district a vocational diploma. And by that, I don't, by no means, oh, I saw the eyes light up with that one.
But, one of the things that actually I've been trying to have some conversations about is the fact that, we have many students who actually come in, many of our special ed students who come in, and I mean, they stay, of course, until like they're 21, but our students are in business, they're working in different organizations, I mean, making good livings. And, one of the pieces that, not that we're trying to get credit for, but just the fact that, our graduation rate, we talk about that piece, but there's no credit that's provided,
Right, right.
Well, I don't want to I'll let you go ahead, but we definitely need to talk.
Yeah, we need to talk. And, one of the things we're very interested in doing is not creating a low standards vocational diploma and requirements, but one that would be high standards, but be dependent on performance-based assessments.
Right.
For example, of how, what are the 10 requirements in order to be an electrician? What are they? You don't necessarily need a standardized test, but you need to demonstrate that you can do those 10 things.
Wonderful.
As well as know something about business English and its appropriateness for the business world. So math skills could be electrical mathematics as opposed to Regents mathematics, those types of things. So we're very interested in pursuing that, and we hope we can have that discussion with Jacob. So that's the direction we're going: meaningful, progressive, research-based reform.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Dan. I appreciate your review. As you wonder, how well do young people get insight into what might be something they want to do at Edison versus, the standard mindset of, gee, let's go on a college track, which maybe 20 years ago was lucrative, but these days
It's just, you make more money in the trades.
That's right. And they'd be able to stay local and a lot more in the trades. What interaction do you have with the grade schools, Jacob, to make sure that young people get a full picture of what their options are as they go along?
Well, actually, one of the things that we try to do, right now we're recruiting. Before COVID, we went into many of our middle schools to do presentations. We actually had something called the Edison Expo, where we invited 8th graders here to Edison to do like a half-day tour through our CTE and our classes as well. I actually have, it's funny. Actually, I have this right here is all the 8th graders that came to Edison, who gave us interest, that we were sending out invites now to their parents to come and tour the building. So, for the Edison Expo, we had the students that came during school time, which of course, students like going on field trips, which is great. But students that really were interested filled out cards as Edison being like their first choice. And so we were actually in the middle of sending an invite to the parents to come in on an evening to come to Edison to really get a tour, because we really got to get the parents on board, which is important. So because of COVID, that kind of was kind of derailed. But we are planning on still sending out just kind of invites, because we do have a group of incoming 9th graders next year, and we want to make sure that those 9th graders really want to be here at Edison next year. So the piece, I saw a meeting that you guys had with Deborah Washington, who's the current principal at number 3 school. I want to say that Deborah graduated from, I know she graduated from Edison. She's an Edison Tech grad as well. And I want to say that she might have went to number 3 school too. But I have been talking with her about possibly having Nathaniel Rochester somewhat be the feeder here to Edison, which, we need a feeder program. I think what we here at Edison, our middle school students also need to kind of be a part of that. Which is important. So we're kind of having that discussion now to see kind of how that would look. Because I want to say, number 3 school, we called it Interim Beck when I was there. And Interim kind of was almost like a feeder here to Edison. So
that's kind of what Mary Coffey was talking about, right? Yeah. Are there preparations at the earlier ages to direct people that way?
Testing, everything, yeah. And Jacob, I'd like to thank you very much. That was a wonderful presentation you showed us. Yep. And it makes me feel good.
Yeah, well.
Thank you.
Did you have anything else you wanted to say, Alicia?
I just want to say it was a great meeting. And yes, Jacob, you provided us with a stellar look at Edison Tech. And I look forward to this group being supportive of your efforts as well as the SUNY Attain Lab.
Yeah.
Amen.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you to everybody. Hopefully we all got some good information out of this, and we'll keep you posted